Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here in Hollywood, California. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our virtual friends, standing around our water cooler, talking about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, a little bit of television, some other cool stuff as well. And friends, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood when Robert Meyer Burnett is here. Robert, how you doing, friend?
I'm good, and I like being your neighbor.
You are my neighbor.
So it's nice to be here in the morning. I can't believe they cast Charlotte Rampling in the new Dune. I'm so excited.
Have they not just hit every casting out of the park with this movie so far?
You know, on my way here on the train, I tweeted that it perhaps is the best cast movie of the 21st century.
It's looking remarkable. It's looking remarkable. But also joining us today, actually, I've been trying to get somebody to read questions. I tried to get Ray to do it a couple of weeks ago. Ray's like, nope. So we've got another one of our team members here. Ashley Whalen is going to be helping us out here with reading off a lot of the topics and the super chats and stuff like that. Ashley's actually a production assistant around here, but she has very kindly agreed to do the on-camera reading as well.
I have, yes. Very excited to be here. Thank you. I'm just excited to be part of this community, and I got your warm welcomes on Facebook, and that really just made me happy. So happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. And listen, guys, we do have a bunch of stuff that we got to talk about here today. Of course, most of our main topics, but I want to talk about something off the top.
Uh-oh.
One of the minor controversies we've had in the last couple of weeks, minor controversy, has been that, the Academy released their short list of potential nominees for Best Visual Effects.
Yes.
Noticeable by its absence was Aquaman. And a lot of people got very upset that Aquaman wasn't nominated. And you and I think we were both kind of the same thought, which was, there's a lot of visual effects in Aquaman, and they're solid, they're good, but I didn't, as a former guy who used to work in visual effects, I didn't see anything in that movie that particularly screamed to me, this is a best visual effects of the year. And I try to remind people that, remember, the committee that nominates best visual effects for the Academy is the visual effects branch.
Right.
These are visual effects artists. Well, to drive the point home even a little bit more, the Visual Effects Society today released their nominees for their annual awards for visual effects. And it is interesting to note that none of the major award nominations went to Aquaman. The Visual Effects Society, the actual visual effects artists, all said, not good enough. Now, there's about 12 different categories. The only category Aquaman got nominated for was Best Design of a Visual Environment, which was, of course, for Atlantis.
Sure.
And I'm all for that. Atlantis looked beautiful for sure. However, in the major categories, their top major categories are Outstanding Visual Effects in a Photoreal Feature. So that would be live action movie. And the nominees were Avengers Infinity War, Christopher Robin, which at first I was surprised and I thought about it. It's like, actually, that was the visual effects in that were perfect. Absolutely perfect. Ready Player One, Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Welcome to Marwen. Then the Outstanding Supporting Visual Effects in a Photoreal Feature, 12 Strong, Bird Box, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, and Outlaw King. And then you had the Best Outstanding Visual Effects in an Animated Feature, Best Outstanding Visual Effects in a Photoreal Episode, talking about television, Outstanding. And by the way, Krypton got a nomination for The Phantom Zone, which I thought was pretty cool. And Westworld got a nomination as well. Blah, blah, blah. And all the major awards, Aquaman actually didn't get nominated. So we've talked about this issue a little bit, but and by the way, Black Panther didn't get a nomination either.
Right.
And it just won Black Panther just won Best Visual Effects at the Critics' Choice, which just drives home the critics have no fucking idea what good visual effects are, but whatever. So Black Panther does not get nominated. Aquaman does not get nominated. Were you surprised to hear that the Visual Effects Society didn't nominate Aquaman either?
No, because as we've talked about, I really believe that it's a stylistic thing. That now everyone is looking for absolutely real photorealistic effects that are utterly convincing.
Things that blow your mind.
And things that blow your mind. And I think the thing about Aquaman is that Aquaman makes no bones about the fact that it is balls to the wall fantasy.
Yeah.
It is not trying to convince you that Atlantis exists in our world today. It went the entire other direction. And I think it's really just a stylistic thing. I think you have to ask yourself, do the effects support the rest of the movie? I mean, that's what you should ask. Do whatever you're going for stylistically, That's what the visual effects should do. And I think the visual effects for Aquaman completely supported what the movie was trying to do, but though what it was trying to do is sort of not in favor today. Going to that balls to the wall fantasy realm that's completely other, completely wacky and crazy. They succeeded admirably. But if you were looking for something that's photorealistic and totally convincing, I mean, you just don't believe giant armored seahorses and giant sharks interacting with real humans.
But it goes one step further than that. Like, while I love the world they created, I never once confused or believed for a moment that giant crocodile that Orm was riding was real. I never once thought that looked real. It looked like a real living, breathing thing. I never once thought the sharks that the other guys were riding looked real. I never thought that the giant seahorses that Ivan Drago was riding looked even remotely real. Like, so there's just stuff like that.
And I think you're absolutely right about that. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. They went the other direction. Like, they didn't want, like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. I remember first seeing the first Jurassic Park, absolutely photoreal. Never seen anything. When that brachiosaur rears up and Sam Neill, takes off his glasses and you're looking. I was in the theater.
We were all doing the same thing.
I was like, oh my God. I mean, that is what people want out of their visual effects. And then going the other way, which is what Aquaman did, that's fun too.
Yeah, it's fun, but the visual effects artists are speaking. It's not that impressive. It's solid, good job. So don't blame the Academy. It's the visual effects artists who didn't think it was good enough to get nominated. Solid, good. But anyway, there you go. All right. Listen, guys, let's get on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics around here? Well, it's really rather simple. You guys select them by emailing me anytime to john@thejohncampeashow.com. That's john@thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, make sure you keep those emails to 90 words or less. With that out of the way, Ashley, what's our first email today?
All right, let's get into it. So the first email is from Dane Thompson, and he says, "Thank you for being a force of good both in the movie and Star Wars fan community. I saw that the creator behind the Vader fan film posted a video discussing how Disney has filed a claim to his fan film where they can put advertising on the video and collect money from it. I'm sorry, this just feels wrong. Thanks for reading my question and keep bringing on the filthy." Yeah, John, we have seen a lot of outrage over the internet. What is happening here?
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of misunderstanding that's going on. Now, I've never been the one to be afraid to say the unpopular thing. So I'm fine saying the unpopular thing if I think it makes common sense. And so I'm going to be the one to say the unpopular thing, right? Here's the thing. There's a lot of misunderstanding going on around right now over this whole Vader fan film thing. I'm seeing people on Twitter, Disney stole this guy's movie. I saw that Disney is suing this guy. I saw that Disney has taken this guy's money. The guy, by the way, the guy is a YouTube channel by the name of Star Wars Theory. And it's run, by the way, by a good Canadian kid from British Columbia, Canada. Us Canadians, we just know, we get the job done, to quote Hamilton. Us Canadians know what we're doing. And he made this remarkable fan film. One of the best Star Wars fan films I have ever seen. I believe it's called Vader Episode 1, Shards of the Past, or something along those lines. It is absolutely wonderfully done for a fan film. Unbelievably good. I've made a fan film, and it made my fan film look like hot, steaming garbage. It's just remarkable. So what happened was this. Disney filed a copyright claim, or not Disney, but a music company that Disney owns filed a copyright claim because there is Star Wars music being used in it. And it started this outrage. So many people have misunderstandings over what's happening that Ray and Ann came home last night, and Ann said, "Hey, yeah, what's going on with this Vader fan film?" And Ray, even Ray, said to Ann, "Oh, Disney's suing him over his movie." And I said, "No, they're not." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, Disney's pulling his video off YouTube." And I said, "No, they're not." And that just kind of highlights the thing. I've been reading over Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube so many things that people saying, like, Disney is taking this guy's child and sacrificed it to the volcano gods, and Disney did this, and Warner Music did this, and blah, blah, and all this kind of stuff. I think it's very important for us to just take a breath. Look, if you want to be mad about this, that's okay. I just don't want you to be mad about something that's not actually happening. So let's look at what isn't actually happening, okay? Take a look at this. So they have this copyright claim filed against it, all right? Couple of things to keep in mind. Was the video deleted? No. So if you see people online saying Disney deleted his video, no, they did not. Did the channel get a content strike? Content strikes are bad. If you're a YouTube creator, you do not want content strikes. But no, he did not get a content strike. Was the video taken away from him? I had people writing me on Facebook yesterday saying, Disney came in and stole his content. No, Disney did not take the video away from him. Did the creator lose money as a result of this? No, he did not. Did the creator get sued over this? No, he did not. Were his rights in any way infringed upon? No, they were not. Was his channel negatively impacted? No, it was not. Was his channel shut down? No, they were not. By the way, all these things are things I actually saw people were saying were happening. And the fact check here, none of them are. Now look, let me give you a little bit of context to this, all right? And most YouTube creators, we live with copyright claims all the time.
Right.
And copyright violations on YouTube are a big deal because it gets YouTube in trouble. It gets a lot of people in trouble, right? So there are two things that can happen, all right? Two things that can happen when copywritten content is used. Number one, the dreaded content strike. If you get a content strike, a couple of things happen. Your video's deleted, but also your channel itself becomes very limited in what it can do. For example, we had a content strike once when we were at AMC, and we couldn't live stream. You can't live stream if you have even one content strike on you until that content strike is gone and removed. And a lot of other negative things. Monetization becomes an issue. Everything else becomes an issue when you get a content strike. But there's a middle ground, and that's called the copyright claim. A copyright claim is a middle ground between being able to use all copywritten material free and clear and the other extreme of getting a content strike. A copyright claim is simply this in YouTube terms, and I get hit with copyright claims at least 2 or 3 times a week. You know, Chris Stuckman recently talked about, the fact that we get hit with these things all the time. This is nothing new. For people who don't have active YouTube channels, content claims are nothing new. This happens all the time, and here's how it works. So, some company determines that I'm using a piece of copywritten content in one of my videos, whether it's a video clip or music or imagery or whatever. They will then file with YouTube a copyright claim. Now, that does nothing bad to my channel. It doesn't take away any of my views. It doesn't take the video down. It doesn't take the video away from me. Nothing negative happens to me. The only thing it does is, since that company's or that individual's copywritten material, follow me. I know this is blah, blah, blah YouTube speak, but follow along with me here. This is actually important. It means the individual whose copyright was used, they have a right, since it's their copywritten material being used in the video, they have a right to have any ad revenue diverted to them and to put ads on the video like a normal YouTube video and divert it to them. Nothing bad happens to me. Now, when I have content claims, I usually fight them because it's usually because they're claiming something's in my video that's not actually in my video. You used a piece of copywritten video footage. Actually, I didn't. And so I win 9 out of 10 of those, so that's fine. But anyway, that's a copyright claim, all right? Now let's go to Star Wars Theory's video, brilliant film fan Vader. Star Wars is clearly not his property.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you knew this. Star Wars is owned by somebody else. That includes all images, all likenesses, all characters, all stories, all music, everything. It's owned by, in the grand scheme of things, owned by Lucasfilm, okay? Lucasfilm owns all that, and Disney owns Lucasfilm. So what happened was, this guy, Star Wars Theory, got permission from Lucasfilm to make this movie. However, Lucasfilm said you cannot crowdfund it, like you can't generate money using our copywritten material. Because if we let you do it, then we have to let everybody do it. I mean, that's just legal precedent. If we let you do it, then we don't have a case to fight against other people trying to use our stuff. So they said you can't crowdfund it and you cannot monetize it. So the guy goes, okay. And like all of us who makes fan films, he goes, I still want to make this out of passion. And he made it and made a wonderful fan film.
Yeah.
Now we fast forward a week or so after the fan film lands. A copyright claim is then put against the video saying, hey, this is using stuff in it that is copywritten, belongs to us. So we're not taking the video down. We're not giving Star Wars Theory's YouTube channel a strike. We're doing nothing negative to Star Wars Theory at all. Nothing bad is happening to him. We're not taking anything away from him. Nothing. But since it's our copywritten material, we are filing it because they have to.
Of course.
If you don't, then you're in trouble for later. So they have to file a copyright claim. That's the precedent, so that's what they did. All it means is that now when you watch that video, a YouTube ad will play, which plays on most YouTube videos, and they get the revenue for it because it's their copywritten material. That's it. Now, again, there's a lot of there's misinformation going on out there, because I'll tell you what, I've gotten copyright claims from Disney, from Warner Brothers, from Sony, from Universal, from Lionsgate. Hell, I even had Lionsgate once write to me, beg me to put up this video clip because they're trying to promote this movie. It was the second Machete movie. They're like, please play this clip and promote this movie. Lionsgate asked me to do it. They practically begged me to do it. So I'm like, okay, I'll play that clip. And I got a content strike for putting that damn thing up. So trust me, I know what this is all about, okay? I've gotten it from everybody. It happens all the time. It's just part of the procedure that they have to follow. So a lot of people saying, how dare they do it to this guy? How dare they screw this guy over? Nothing happened to Star Wars Theory. Let's look at the before and after, okay? Before this content claim was made, not a strike, before the content claim was made, the guy had no monetization on the video because he wasn't allowed to. He had full control of his channel. He had no content strikes against him. There was no lawsuit against him. He could make a sequel to this video if he wanted to before the content claim. And the video itself is still fully under his control. After the content claim, he still has no monetizations, nothing changed. He still has full control of his channels, nothing's changed. There is still no content strikes against him. There is still no lawsuit. He can still make a sequel. The video is still online on his channel and under his full control. Nothing negative happened. Nothing. All that happened was a copyright owner filed a copyright claim that they have to do for a video that carried their copywritten content material. And that's it. Nothing negative happened to anyone in this situation. And again, if you're somebody who still wants to be mad that they would even have ads on this video, okay, that's fine. Be mad about that. Don't be mad that they took his video because they didn't. Don't be mad because they took over his creative work because they didn't. I'm just so when other studios do it, and it happens to me all the time with all these studios, you just got to take a breath, understand what is and isn't happening. But anyway, Robert, so that was me blabbing on about that ad nauseum. And by the way, too, I should point out one other thing. Now, Star Wars Theory, who runs a great YouTube channel and, again, made a brilliant fan film.
Yeah.
He claimed that right now his video, the Vader fan film, has, as of last night, it was 6.6 million views, which might be 6.7, 6.8 by now, but whatever. Let's, for argument's sake, say 7 million.
Sure.
And he said something in his video that made me raise my eyebrow. He goes, you know, that equals about $80,000 in ad revenue. And I'm like, time out.
In what universe?
In what universe? In a galaxy far, far away? Because it ain't here. Because I'll tell you what, and a lot of people get shocked by this, but you ask Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman and whatever. On average, it fluctuates. It does. It fluctuates. But on average, you're making between $1.50 and $2 per 1,000 views. In other words, for every million views, you make about $1,500 to $2,000. That means really any ad revenue for this video would have been around $14,000.
Right.
So, I mean, which is, hey, still considerable, but I'm just saying it's not $80,000. But at any rate, look, as somebody who has lived through this, with you're like infamously with, you the project you were working on with Axanar, Paramount had to went after you guys and shut you guys down and all that. You've been there. You know it from firsthand point of view. How do you react to this?
Well, here's the thing. I have a much different reaction. I would say that this guy having his video being monetized by, Warner Chappell Music?
Yes.
Is a huge win. It's not a bad thing. The fact that they didn't take it down, the fact that the status of the video hasn't changed, and Warner Chappell Music is monetizing his video is an epic win for him. It's a really huge vote of confidence for what he created. They're leaving it up there because they feel it's more beneficial than taking it down. I mean, this guy, if you want to make a short film and have someone see it and have eyeballs on it, this controversy, the amount of views, this is an epic win what is it, for Star Wars Theory?
Yeah.
He couldn't have done it better if he tried. And this controversy just benefits him. Trust me, I have copyright violations on my channel, strikes, fraudulent claims against me by my former compatriot who actually doesn't own the copyright on this material. He says he's giving me copyright strikes. He's striking my own channel. He doesn't even own it. And yet there's no way for me to go to YouTube and go, dude, I went through a lawsuit with this dude and he's, threatening to sue me and putting copyright strikes against my channel for a fan film that, I did most of the work on. So whatever.
You know what one of the real unfortunate, unintended negative repercussions of this could all be? Is this. Lucasfilm and Disney have been one of the companies and studios that have been the most lenient.
The most lenient.
For letting people create fan films of their copyright material. Others, like Paramount, not so much with Star Trek, but they've been one of the most lenient. My fear is this. If a Lucasfilm and a Disney and a Paramount and a Warner Brothers look at and saying, look at all this stink everybody's raising over this. Okay, just we won't let anybody make fan films of our material. Like right now, this could have been a big win for fan filmmaking because he's made this great popular film with great excellence. And, Disney's recognized it. Warner Chappell has put monetization against it. They see it as a win. Everybody sees it as a win. My fear here, and this may not happen, I'm just saying my fear is that Lucasfilm and Warner Brothers and Paramount will just go, you know what, this just proves we shouldn't let anybody make fan films of our material because it's just going to cause problems.
Well, look, I don't. Here's the big mistake. I mean, let's go back to Star Wars Theory. You know his big mistake? He didn't have original music composed.
He did.
Oh, that was
he did.
Did he?
But he hired a composer. But there was pieces of music that were clearly taking from John Williams' score.
Well, that's a no-no. I mean, even we, for the fan film,
but they still didn't pull it down.
No, but that I was involved with, we had a composer compose original music that was not redolent. There was a few things that it was, but for the most part, you can't. The thing about music is there's algorithms that immediately. If I put up a film, like I use YouTube a lot to put up various examples of feature films that I'm working on. We temp track them with other music. We'll put in original music later. As soon as I do that, even if it's a private link, I get a strike against me. Not a strike, but a takedown.
Copyright,
because their musical algorithm is so good that if you put up something that's copywritten, any kind of music, they will ding you immediately. Yeah. As soon as your video, before it's even finished digitizing on YouTube, the algorithm has already nailed you. So as soon as it's up, you'll get those strikes. Music is the worst thing. If you make a fan film, make your own music and do not
make it sound like the original movie's music.
You're going to get that.
And if you do, accept it when a copyright claim is made against you. Again, look, this guy made a fabulous fan film. It's incredible. You should check it out if you have not.
And he's on their radar. Lucasfilm knows who this kid is. I mean, this was, if you want to get publicity for your film career, he couldn't have done a better job. So good on him. It's a great fan film, and he played it beautifully.
Now, all I'm going to say is this, though. Again, bottom line is, if you want to be mad about this, fine. Just be mad about the actual issues, not these made-up issues that are running around. They took his video, they took his content, they took his money, but none of that happened. If you want to be mad that they just put ads on the video, fine. Be mad about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. I'm just saying let's be mad about the actual issue. All right, we went on that. That deserved that issue. I believe deserved a little bit of explanation.
We could do a whole show.
We could have gone a whole hour on that. All right, let's move on to the next email today.
All right, cool. The next email comes from Stormchaser73. It says, "This makes me feel old, but I cannot believe these movies are turning 30 years old. 1989. What are your thoughts? Back to the Future 2, Batman, Bill and Ted's Dead Poet Societies, Field of Dreams, Glory, Look Who's Talking, Major League, Pet Cemetery, Roadhouse, Say Anything,
Roadhouse,
Uncle Buck, Indiana Jones 3, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Thanks, and keep up the great work." Robert, all of these make me feel extremely old, probably like Bill and Ted's the most, but it's pretty crazy. What's your reaction to these, and do you have any favorites?
Well, at first I'm thinking he left off Star Trek V, The Final Frontier,
well,
directed by the mighty Shatner, a Canadian.
Yes.
Which also
when the Almighty asks you to do something, you don't ask for his ID.
and also the James Bond film License to Kill came out in the summer of '89. You know what? I actually chart the course of my life through kind of like Scott Mantz movie release dates. When movies came out.
Yes, you do.
So it is terrifying to me when I realize that all of the films he listed are really classics of the genre. So great list. But it just makes me realize I'm that much closer to death. And how
Welcome to the John Campea Show, everybody.
but you know what's so great? What's great is that the memory of these films endure. And that we got such great material that's endured for 30 years. Pop culture usually comes and goes. I mean, do you remember, other than Flock of Seagulls, I Ran? They're like a 35-year-old band.
yeah,
Who remembers, who remembers them? The fact that these movies are still in the consciousness of the public, your consciousness, the fact that we're talking about them now, this is a great thing.
Yeah, the one that really, first of all, Roadhouse is 30. Roadhouse is 30. By the way, Sam Elliott's aged like 3 years since Roadhouse. If
Along
you look
with
at him in
Marissa
Roadhouse,
Tomei.
along with Marissa. So here's the thing. The one that really stands out to me on this is Batman, and I'll tell you why. And some of you have heard this story recently. You guys know that one of the things that kind of propelled me to leaving the corporate overlords I worked for to do my own thing was the passing of my best friend growing up. He died just a little over a year and a half ago now, and his name was Brendan. And he always used to say, life's too short to not be happy. And that kind of made me go, I'm unhappy, so I'm going to do something that makes me happy. When Brendan and I were both kids, and this Batman movie was coming out with Michael Keaton, and the theater at the time in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, was the theater in Jackson Square Mall. It was basically like the Eaton Center in Toronto. It was the central hub mall of the city, right? And I remember we went down to watch Batman, and it was the first time I saw a line for a movie. Because it wrapped around, because it was inside of a mall, but it went all the way around, like the entire section of the mall, down and then out the door onto the street. I had never seen anything like it in my life. And then we went in and watched it, and I was so floored by it. So floored by it. But it is one of the most special memories to me, but that was 30 years ago. Wow. That's the one that jumps out to me. Like which, now you already said, which one did you say, Ashley, was the one for you?
I feel like Bill and Ted's for me. I just remember watching that over and over and over when I was young, and now I'm like, how is it 1989?
And if you want to talk about guys who haven't aged, like Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Let's move on to the next email today. What is next?
Great. Yeah, the next one is from David Prower. He says, hey, John, big fan. While I'm super stoked for Spider-Man Far From Home, I can't help but feel it's a mistake to release it right after and, more importantly, market it before Avengers Endgame. I think that there is a possibility it might even hurt Endgame's box office if they're already revealing to the audience that everything works out fine. What do you think? Keep up the great work. Yeah, there's a lot of concern about this, that it's going to spoil Endgame. I mean, I don't know. What's your response? Do you think so?
I am surprised. Look, I knew there would be some people. Like when Rogue One was coming out, I knew there would be some people that confused it for the sequel to The Force Awakens.
Right.
And there were some.
Right.
So I knew that there would be some people out there that would raise an eyebrow when a Spider-Man trailer hit. I was unprepared for how many people went that way. And my first response, and I put this up on Twitter last night, actually, because somebody on Twitter was asking me the exact same thing. Like, this could hurt Endgame, because now they know everything works out in Endgame. My response to that on Twitter was, well, guess what? They put out a trailer of Infinity War with Black Panther in it in Wakanda before Black Panther ever came out. Thus telling us, hey guys, don't worry about Black Panther. Everything works out in the end. And that didn't seem to hurt Black Panther at all. Went on to make over $1.3 billion in the box office.
What happened to him?
Yeah, he was quite fine. So the notion that everything works out in Endgame, which number one, we all knew. And number two, by the way, the studio has publicly announced that we know Doctor Strange 2 is coming. We know Black Panther 2 is coming. We knew Spider-Man Far From Home was coming a year ago. None of this is secretive. None of this is being kept under wraps, which also tells me that Endgame unfolds in such a way that knowing all these things isn't going to affect our viewing experience of the movie. So I just tell everybody, relax. This was all public knowledge. We all knew all this stuff beforehand anyway. And if you didn't know it, it's only because you weren't paying attention. They've made it publicly knowledgeable. So I don't see any issue here at all. What do you think?
No, I don't either, because in my mind, it's like we still don't know if this movie takes place after Endgame, even though Feige said it was the beginning of Phase 4. Who knows what happens? I mean, who knows? We didn't see what happened at the end of Avengers Infinity War. We didn't see that coming either. And I think Marvel knows what they're doing. And by the way, it certainly makes me excited for why wasn't Tony Stark in this trailer?
Why would he be, though?
I don't know.
Like, what? Captain America's not in the trailer. Thor's not in the trailer.
But
Groot's
he was a
not in the
big
trailer.
part of the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, but then
Tony Stark,
he's gone.
Maybe he is gone. Where'd he go?
He's in Europe. He's just following Peter around.
What I'm saying, John, is maybe Tony Stark isn't around being in the movie because he's not around at all.
Yes, and I guess Nebula's dead too because she's not in the trailer either. Good God. Okay, but we basically agree.
Yes, I don't think it's going to hurt though. Are you kidding? It just made me want to go see Avengers Endgame even more.
Yeah, this will feed into it.
How does Stark die?
It'll help. I don't think Stark's going to die, by the way. All right, let's move on to our next email today.
I'm just stirring the pot.
What's next?
All right, next up is from Edwin Maker. He says, "Hi, John and Rob. I actually got turned on to Up in the Air because I heard you talk about it a while ago, and I loved it.
It's awesome.
So good.
Now Jason Reitman is directing a Ghostbusters movie. I think this is amazing, and I couldn't think of a better guy to direct it. I also heard that this isn't going to be connected to the 2016 movie. I thought it was okay, but most people hated it. Still, do you think this is a good idea to move away from that remake? Thanks, and may the filthy be with you always." All right, Robert, what do you think about the son of the director of the original doing this Ghostbusters?
Well, I go back to the old Superman mythology. You know, the father becomes the son becomes the father. It's kind of neat. I think it's kind of neat that Jason Reitman's going to direct Ghostbusters 3. I mean, he certainly has somebody he can turn to and say, "Dad, how do you make a good Ghostbusters movie?"
And his dad's producing it, by the way.
And his dad's producing it. And I think, look, why not? I mean, like he said in an interview recently, probably yesterday, I read it. He said he was the first Ghostbusters fan. He was on the set when he was like 6 years old. I think it's terrific. I mean, I just want to see a great Ghostbusters movie. I would love to see Bill Murray come back. And they said there's going to be new characters, and it's going to be in continuity. So the first Ghostbusters were set in the 80s. By the way, Ghostbusters 2 came out in 89.
Yes, it did.
So Ghostbusters 2 is also 30 years old. So we're 30 years on. We get the Ghostbusters coming back. What happens to Peter Venkman late in his life? Is he still chasing ghosts, or is he a disciple of hell? Did Gozer the Gozerian come back and possess him? I think it's great.
There's a couple things to keep in mind here, though. A couple things to note here. They never said that the original cast was coming back.
They did not.
They did say it is a continuation building off the same history as the original Ghostbusters. So, remember years ago there were rumors that of there being a new Ghostbusters team in that shared cinematic universe, but it was going to be like Seth Rogen,
right,
and a bunch of other guys. So it could be that. It could be actually getting the surviving members back together. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. I know Dan Aykroyd would love that. I don't know if Bill Murray would, but clearly he's got to be on board. There's something poetically beautiful about Ivan Reitman's son.
I think so.
And by the way, Ivan Reitman's son may very well be a better director than Ivan Reitman. I mean, when you look at some of the films that Jason Reitman has directed, check some of these out. He did Tully this year. One of the most underappreciated movies of 2018 was Tully. That movie was beautiful. He did the aforementioned Up in the Air that got Oscar buzz. He got Juno, which won a couple of Academy Awards. One of my favorites of his is Thank You for Smoking.
So good.
With Aaron Eckhart. That movie is brilliant.
Yep.
Jason Reitman is a force of a director. He's not just his dad's kid. He is his own director. He's a wonderful director. And having him come on board, forget that he's related to Ivan. Just having a Jason Reitman come on board to do a new Ghostbusters, I think is great. But you add on top of that the lineage and the fact that Ivan Reitman, the creator of the originals, is going to be plugged into this as a producer along with his son as well, is also great. Couple of interesting things also to note about this. This ain't going to be, Matt Reeves' Batman that we got to wait till 2031 for.
Right.
They're saying they could go into production this summer for this movie to hit theaters in 2020. They have been keeping this thing ridiculously under wraps. And by the way, Sony's on a bit of a roll.
Right.
Sony's on a roll right now. And look, I was one of the few people that I liked the 2016 Ghostbusters. I had some real issues with it, but at the end of the day, I came out. I remember I saw it with John Schnapp. The two of us saw it together. We walked out. I was like, that was pretty funny.
Right.
It was pretty funny. It was okay. A lot of people hated it, but I didn't think it was great, and it certainly had its issues, but I thought it was all right. But I do think moving on from that and going back to the world of the original Ghostbusters at this point is probably absolutely the right thing to do.
Well, I keep thinking, I hark back to Creed. I look at Creed. How do you reinvent the Rocky franchise? You have a totally new character in Adonis Creed. You have a new director who loves the franchise, loves the Rocky franchise, tells a new story, but includes the original
Connects
characters.
it to the past.
Connects it, and it's not, the focus was not on Rocky Balboa. It was on Adonis Creed, and a worthy, beautiful film that caresses into a long-standing 40-year-old plus franchise. And if they did the same thing, I mean, not exactly the same, but if they approach a new Ghostbusters like that, it could be wonderful.
I just find you're always looking for excuses to use the word caresses in your statement. I don't know why, but I've noticed that. I'm on to you. All right, let's move on to the final email of the day.
I actually just saw a little video online of Sylvester Stallone doing some choreography and directing. While it was really cool. You guys
Was it for
check
Creed
out.
2?
It was not Creed 2.
Oh.
It was old school Rocky 1. So
wow.
Yeah, it's some cool footage out there. So
that I would like to see.
Yeah, you
would
can
like
check
to
it
see
out.
that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, this email comes from Radley Ketchum. It says, I know the reviews for Glass haven't been spectacular or anything, but I know a lot of people who want to see it and are pretty excited about it. I was wondering how well Glass can expect to do opening weekend. Split was good, but it's been a long time since Unbreakable. Is there enough interest in the movie to do any business opening weekend? What do you think, John? He's right. It has been a long time.
It has been a long time since that Unbreakable film came, but there is momentum here. And despite, look, that trailer dropped at Comic-Con and was one of the best trailers at Comic-Con and got a lot of people talking. People enjoyed Split, at least the last 5 minutes of it.
I loved it.
I think the rest, I thought Split was decent. I thought Split was a decent, solid little film with a terrific ending. I mean, it was the ending that really got a lot of people excited. The couple things to keep in mind here, though. Number one, Unbreakable didn't do huge business, and Split did not do huge business, but certainly huge for its budget. But yeah, it looks like even though there are very lukewarm reviews about Glass, it's going to do pretty well. Universal is predicting that somewhere between 50 and 55 million of an opening, but other industry insiders are saying it could be 60 to 75 million dollar opening. Now, let's put that into perspective. What does that mean? Well, here are the biggest opening weekends of all time in the month of January. And even if the moderate Sony or Universal prediction of just 50 to 55, even if that is as low as it comes in, it would still be the number 2 all-time opening weekend in January history. Of course, number 5 in the franchise is Split, opened to $40 million. Cloverfield, just a hair above it at $40 million. Kung Fu Panda 3 came in at $41.2 million. Ride Along came in at $41. And of course, the big one is American Sniper at $89. Look, it looks like it is a foregone conclusion. This is going to be the second biggest opening in January in Hollywood history. And at the top end of those estimates is $75 million. It means 89 isn't out of striking distance. There is conceivably, look, if the reviews had been all overwhelmingly positive, we'd probably be looking at a new record holder for January.
Yep.
But even with negative reviews, it's still positioned to do quite well. And keep in mind, this was not a $120 million movie.
No.
This is a movie they make for bus fare and enough change to buy a 6-pack of McNuggets. That's what they make these movies for. This would be a remarkable success for these guys, Rob.
It would be huge. And if you look, I mean, if you read the reviews, a lot of this movie takes place in an asylum.
Yeah.
So it's a contained environment, which means the production, it didn't cost a lot of money. And it's basically focusing on the characters and all that. And that's what people want to see. Split was the same way. Split was a movie that was essentially contained in a dungeon underneath well, I won't tell you where it's underneath, but it was a contained film. So Shyamalan was able, the Shamhammer, was able to keep costs down. And that's what you want out of a movie like this. What Blumhouse has really done from a production standpoint is bring back what New Line Cinema was doing in the 80s. They were making great genre fare like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies like The Hidden, for not a lot of money. And they were getting theatrically released. And they're bringing back something we had sort of lost. And if these films can continue and other companies like Blumhouse can get movies like this theatrically released, it means great news for filmmakers everywhere. Up-and-coming filmmakers, established filmmakers who might want to come back into the game. And I want these movies to succeed because it bodes well for the industry and the future of talent.
You know what? In one of the biggest problems I've been saying for years in Hollywood right now is that studios have let the spending get out of control. They spend way too much money on these movies when it's not even necessary.
Yeah.
To have a counterbalance force like a Jason Blum and Blumhouse to actually come out and make movies for reasonable, low amounts of money that enjoy huge success. The profit percentage on his movies are outstanding. That, I hope, starts to teach and reel in this habit in Hollywood that says, oh, who cares? Well, let's make it for $300 million. Do you know what they made District 9 for?
I do not.
I believe it was around $40 million. District 9, a visual effects,
Wow.
CGI heavy, blah, 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 made it for about $40 million. You cannot tell me you have to spend $250 million on some of these. But there's ways to do it and ways to do it right. And I hope that Blumhouse can be one of those forces that brings some sensibility back.
Look, and they're doing other movies like Whiplash. If you haven't seen Whiplash,
so good.
They produced that as well. And they're branching out and they're doing other films other than their horror genre stuff. But Jordan Peele had a monster hit. I mean, I think Get Out was a $200 million, close to that
Yeah,
domestically,
crazy
175. Halloween made tons of money. I mean, this is great for the industry. It's great for fans. It's great for audiences, and it's great for filmmakers. So,
all right, guys, that will do it for all of the emailed questions we had come in from you guys. But as we like to do, we like to save some time and take your live questions. A bunch of you guys have been sending in live questions, so let's jump over to those right now. Ashley, what is up first?
All right, cool. The first live question comes from Pool of Dead. 99 days until Endgame. Hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong.
All things balanced as everything should be. The countdown clock, my friends, is real. It is insane to think we're only 99 days away from Avengers Endgame. This is the first time that we're having two Avengers movies in subsequent years. It is crazy. I still can't believe it. Like, we got a lot of our attention right now on Spider-Man Far From Home. We got a lot of our attention on Captain Marvel. It's what's coming up next. But really, we all got our periscopes on Endgame right now.
we should drink a bottle every morning of beer and do that 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
You know what?
But
We should put across 99 bottles of beer and literally every day drink one. Be like the Christmas calendar when you pluck the candies off.
it's the Adventist calendar, but for Avengers Endgame.
I don't drink, so I'll have to come up with something else.
Oh.
But maybe, I don't know.
Maybe instead, to be responsible, maybe it'll be 99 bottles of your favorite water.
Well, instead of beer, yeah, something more watery, like American beer. Okay, good. All right, what's next?
All right, the next one is Keenan Kolar. Snap didn't kill anyone, but put them in an alternate reality where they think they were the lucky ones. Phase 4, all about trying to merge both TLs.
Both time. No, I've heard a lot of people suggest that theory. There is nothing in Infinity War that remotely suggests that.
Nope.
Thanos went around not capturing people and sending them off to some alternate reality. He went around slaughtering people. And he says specifically to Stark, to Doctor Strange, hey, look, I'm just going to wipe them out. It's merciful.
That's why they
Wipe
were
them out.
dusted.
He doesn't say to them, don't worry, guys, I'm not actually killing anyone. I'm sending them to their own paradise. And another. He didn't say that. He said, I'm wiping them out. I'm dusting them. He kills them. That's what he did.
They're gone.
All right, what's next?
Trojan of Narnia says, I didn't like the fan film much, but jerk move by Disney.
Again, I don't see what did Disney do? Did they take his money? No. Did they take down his video? No. Did they give a content strike to his channel? Nope. Did they take away any of his rights? Nope. I still don't see what Disney did. Even when Warner Brothers sends copyright strikes against me, I don't see the problem.
Disney paid $4 billion to buy Star Wars. That's what they did.
Yeah,
they own it.
They need to protect their copyright, and that's all they did. By the way, you didn't like the fan film? I thought it was great.
I did too.
I started watching because I had a bunch of people tell me, John, have you seen this Vader fan film? I'm like, it's just another freaking fan film. And then one day I was like, came up with my suggested videos. Fine, and click. Riveted.
Yep.
Completely riveted to it. All right, what's next?
All right, Ben Rayner says, congrats, you won one free ticket to rewatch in theaters for one day. Which would you choose, Riders of the Lost Ark or Back to the Future?
Yeah, I think Ben meant Raiders.
Yeah.
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 To me, it's, look, I know there are people who will live and die by Back to the Future, starring a good Canadian kid, Michael J. Fox, but I gotta go Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and living in LA, that's frequently possible. To
Yes,
go to
it
the
is.
theaters and see Back to the Future and Raiders, and I've done both. And Raiders, I will take Raiders every day and all day on Sunday.
All right, what's next?
Cool. Keenan Kohler says, Far From Home has much cooler meaning if correct.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, obviously he is in Europe. He is literally far from home. Could it mean more? I mean, Homecoming didn't have any deeper meaning other than Homecoming happens in Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know if there's much deeper meaning than other than the fact that he is literally far from home.
Unless the entire movie is the dream he's having or the last moments that are going through
Flashing
his eyes
through his-
before he's dusted. That's what the whole
What my
movie is
life
just
could have been,
pre-dusting.
Mr. Stark. Man, what if this movie starts with the scene from Infinity War? I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. What if it started with that?
I would lose my shit.
All right, what's next?
Charles A says, in Infinity War, Spidey tells Stark he was on a field trip in MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Arts. Wouldn't this disprove the prequel theory?
It does not disprove the prequel theory, but it does disprove the theory that when we see Peter coming back on the bus, that's him coming back from his European trip. And I've kept trying to tell people, you do not come back from a European trip on a school bus. And they said, well, the school bus picked him up from the airport. Where's the luggage? In the luggage container. School buses don't have luggage containers under. No, that never happened. It does disprove that theory, but it doesn't necessarily disprove the overall prequel theory. I don't think it's a prequel at all, but it doesn't disprove it. Your thoughts?
Yes, I agree.
All right, what's next?
Connor B says, whenever DC gets around to Darkseid, do you think general audiences will perceive him as a Thanos ripoff?
You know what? I've heard and I've wondered that a little bit. No, and honestly, I don't think we're going to get Darkseid in a long time. I really don't think we're about to get Darkseid. I don't think that's happening anytime in the foreseeable future. By foreseeable future, I mean that in Hollywood terms, like 3 to 4 years.
Well, the New Gods movie would have Darkseid.
And I don't think the New Gods movie's happening.
Yeah.
They hired a director for it and blah, 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 and then nothing. So I don't think the New Gods movie is happening at this point. So honestly, no. And I think they'll do enough design difference to make sure there are significant visual differences between them. So I honestly don't perceive that to be a big problem. All right, what's next?
Nicholas Glenn says, enjoyed the conversation on the Facebook group last night. Again, not disagreeing with you on your points. The only point I was trying to make is things were not like this for fans creating content under Lucas.
Absolutely it was. Absolutely. As somebody who created fan content under Lucas, abso-frickin-lutely it was. Make no mistake about it. It definitely was. Look, this is part of the thing. A lot of people are perceiving this as, this never happens. And now all of a sudden, Warner Music came out and did this thing that's never happened before. It happens every single day. And this was not unlike what happened under Lucasfilm. The only thing is you never had something brought to a high profile like this. Again, nothing happened. Literally nothing happened here.
By the way, Lucasfilm has been the best company when it comes to fan films. They've encouraged, they've given awards for fan films. They put out fan films on when the 6 movies came out, episodes 1 through 6. There's fan films including Troops, including the pink X-Wing pilot, whatever that. They were on the Blu-rays. I mean, Lucasfilm has been nothing but encouraging when it comes to fan films.
And by the way, hey, Rob, what would have happened had you given Paramount a call and said, "Hey, Paramount, I want to make this big Star Trek fan film. Can you give us permission to do it?" What would they have said to you?
Well, if I'd talked to them, having worked for CBS for a number of years and worked on, I would have known what to say, and they probably would have given me they would have told me exactly what I couldn't do.
Right. And and this guy, a good Canadian kid again, Star Wars Theory, he went to them. Kudos to him for going to ask permission. And they gave him their blessing. They said, yeah, you go ahead and make it. Not every studio would have done that, by the way. But yeah, it was a good discussion. We had a good, lively discussion on Facebook last night. I like having good, lively discussions that don't devolve. Guys, as movie fans, you're allowed to have passionate, good, hard debate without getting into name calling and disrespecting each other. And
Absolutely.
we had some good stuff of that on my Facebook channel last night, on the John Campea Facebook group channel last night for our Patreon supporters. It was really good.
That's great.
All right, what's next?
Cool. KW Garrett 83, little known fact for Rob, Michelle Pfeiffer paid off Warner Brothers to tank Halle Berry's Catwoman movie. Pfeiffer wanted to be the only legit Catwoman.
Is this guy your Brotherhood of the tinfoil hat?
Come on. First of all, really? Do you really think that Michelle Pfeiffer?
I think he's being facetious.
Yeah,
I think KW's being a little facetious.
I would hope so, because that's just silly.
You know, it is funny though. It is. I think Halle Berry still may be the only actress in history to win the Oscar one year and win the Razzie the next year. Catwoman, one of the truly most awful films ever made. Michelle Pfeiffer, I'd still look at her in a Catwoman outfit today.
Didn't she accept her Razzie?
She did.
She accepted her
Halle
Razzie.
Berry is so freaking classy. She showed up to the Razzie Awards. None of these people showed up to the Razzie Awards. She showed up, got on stage, accepted the Razzie. Total class. I already liked Halle Berry at that point, but that like sealed and cast iron my respect for her forever.
I'm still waiting for that Jinx movie, the spinoff from Die Another Day. Where's that?
You're going to be waiting for a long time.
I know.
Let's make a fan film. All right, what's next?
With Halle Berry. I bet she'll do it.
I mean, she gets better looking every year,
She
that woman.
does.
It's pretty crazy. All right, John Dureg says, with a movie embargo, should studios add in them that critics can't release spoiler reviews until after the movie comes out in their movie market?
This has been a discussion that's been going on for a long time. Look, I have been pleading with my fellow online film critics, don't put out spoiler reviews. Like, there are review embargoes. So you have to wait till a certain day before you release your review. That's fine. That happens with every movie, with every studio. Some to stricter degrees, some to looser. I have been pleading with my fellow online film commentators to please do not put out spoiler reviews prior to the movie actually coming out. Because here's what happens. It's not... You can't say, well, I'm not spoiling it because if you don't want the movie spoiled, don't watch the video. That's not the problem. The problem is when you do a spoiler review early, you are arming all the trolls with all the spoilers they want so they can go out and spoil it for everybody else on Twitter and in chat forums and all that kind of stuff. I understand the temptation because you'll get some hits and you'll get some views, to put out an early spoiler review, but you are ultimately hurting the fan community online when you do it. So I create a little rule for myself, 2 to 3 days after, a minimum wait 2 to 3 days after the movie's released wide. After the movie's released wide, because I've seen some people well, it opened in Uruguay already, so I can put out my spoiler review when it hadn't opened in the United States yet. It's like you are arming trolls. Think about the health of the online community, because it is the health of the online film fan community that gives you your job and gives me my job. And we need to we need to foster it, we need to protect it, and we need to work in its benefit and to its advantage, not to short-term advantage of, I'll get an extra 200 views if I put out my spoiler review now. And I've been pleading with my fellow online people to look at it that way. But it's a tough thing to convince people off of.
I agree. Look, again, just Will Wheaton said it best. If the Will Wheaton rule is just don't be a dick. You know, that's what he said in the fan community. You know, movies, why would you want to rob audiences of the enjoyment of the discovery? We already know enough about movies with trailers and marketing. Why exacerbate the situation by ruining people's enjoyment of a film further? What are you getting out of it? What is your intent by spoiling a film?
Yeah.
What is it you want to be doing?
And again, I'm sure there are some very innocent motivations. Some people are, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. This is just for anybody who wants to come and watch it. But you are then arming those people with all the details to go and spread it around. And I've had that affect my online community. I've had that effect. I mean, it's just something that I think we need to be a little bit more cognizant of. Anyway, okay, what's next?
Nathan Oswald, still no trailer for Chaos Walking.
Tom Holland, Ray, who plays Ray? Daisy Ridley. Thank you, Ray. Yeah. Daisy Ridley movie supposed to be coming out in like a month and a half or 2 months. Still no trailers. Funny, I had a friend of ours text me about 2 nights ago, and I haven't gotten back to him. Text me about 2 nights ago, says, because I think he's working on the movie. He says, I know, just kind of mocking me. I know everything about Chaos Walking. But I have not, look, I'm the guy who says, wait longer to put out trailers. But even I am like, where the hell's the trailer? I suspect they might be moving the movie.
Maybe Chaos Walking is about what's going on behind the scenes.
Maybe.
And they're going to change the name of the film to Chaos Running. to its release date.
All right, what's next?
Donaldo Martinez. I just had an odd double feature: Megaforce and Jet Li in Hero. Loved Hero.
Yeah, I believe Jason Statham was in Hero, and I think he talks about killing Han sometime later on. But I like that Jet Li
What's
Hero.
with this
oh,
guy?
and by the way, Jet Li Hero I think was one of the early films at the visual effects company I worked for that we did visual effects for Hero. I love Megaforce. It is one of my biggest guilty pleasure movies in history. It's awful in every single way, and I adore every single second of it because Robert, life is like a wheel. It all comes around. Spoken by the great, I kid you not, the name of the hero in the film is Ace.
And not only that, remember what Ace says is the good guys win, even in the 80s.
Yep.
And of course, Megaforce came out in 1982. Scott Mantz, suck on it. And it was directed by the great Hal Needham, if you think he's great, but he had many team-ups with Burt Reynolds, and it was one of the first uses of Introvision, the visual effects process Introvision, and it's just god-awful in every way.
It is a cheap, poor man's G.I. Joe.
It's terrible, and I have a Japanese Blu-ray of it.
Oh my God! I need you to
Yes,
lend
I
that to me because I need to write that. I need to watch it. Okay, what's next?
Patrick Conaway. Saw Stan and Ollie's. It's great, and John C. Reilly kills.
Yeah, I'm hearing great things about John C. Reilly, and I still have not had a chance to see the movie. I thought the trailer looked great. Then I heard some lukewarm things about it, but I've heard Reilly is fantastic in it. It's definitely one that's on my radar.
I want to see it too. Everyone says it's great.
What's next?
Jacob Silvers. John Wick 3 trailer coming tomorrow.
Tick tock, tick tock. The clock is counting down. I cannot wait.
Me neither.
We're going to see a lot of gung fu. We're going to see a lot of gung fu in this trailer. I think I'm very excited about it. What's next?
Tyler Yeats. Any news about the Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie coming out soon?
No, but it sounds remarkable. And from what I'm hearing in the studio system, the studio loves it.
Oh, that's great.
Apparently they love it. And look, I've been telling you guys forever. You guys all sleep on Zac Efron. I am telling you, he's a much better actor than you give him credit for. He's in a lot of cheesy stuff. He's in some bad material. If you want to know just how good he is, just go watch me and Orson Welles. He gives and by the way, he's fantastic in Greatest Showman. He's so good in The Greatest Showman.
He's so good. And what's that movie where he walks across America? It's another romantic comedy. He's some war vet, and he literally walks across the United States and falls in love with some. I don't know why I watched this movie. I watched this movie. It was not something I loved it. I thought he was great in it.
I like him a lot. At any rate, all right. What's next?
Rodney Alexander. This theory of Iron Man dying in Endgame. Can we not look over Doctor Strange congratulating him and Pepper when they first meet in the park in Infinity War? Shouldn't that mean something? # Justice for Han.
Thanks for that, Rodney.
And you know what? That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Because remember, when he comes to the portal and says, and by the way, congratulations on the wedding, Tony looked legitimately surprised that he knew about the wedding. Could he have looked into the future and saw their wedding? If so, does that mean that, that Iron Man survives Endgame and there's going to be a future wedding? I mean, we're getting into heavy geek territory here.
But no, because time is fluid and it's changing all the time. That would mean he had no idea Thanos, was going to show up momentarily. Well, the black, the Obsidian Order was going to show up. I mean,
That's a good point. So great point raised by Rodney. Great counterpoint raised by you.
I just think that Rodney should be congratulated for being Team Han.
Well, no, I'm Team Han. I like Han. I just like him dead. Nothing wrong with that. Han, # Han had it coming, man.
Sun Kang's going to come on the show one day.
Seriously, Rodney, it's an interesting. You know what? I've never thought more beyond than just, oh no, he must have seen it written somewhere. But maybe there's something mystical involved with him knowing about. It's an interesting thing. Way to bring that up, Rodney. I like that. All right, what's next?
All right, Preston Walden found it interesting when Happy says "You're alone now" in the trailer.
Yeah, so Happy at one point in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, he's sitting and goes, "You're alone now, your friends are in trouble, blah, blah." I think it just means, hey, kid, you don't got Iron Man here. You don't have the other Avengers here. You're on your own. You're the one guy here with powers to deal with this. I don't know that it necessarily means anything else. I think it just emphasizes to the audience, yes, Spider-Man Homecoming was Spider-Man with special guest Iron Man. This is a Spider-Man period movie. And I think that one line from Happy suggests that. Do you think anything different?
Stark's dead.
Jeez.
I don't know.
By the way,
but I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's like everybody's reading into every single line of dialogue. You know, sometimes a kiss is just a kiss. A cigar is just a cigar. I think that you're exactly right. He's in Europe on a vacation. He didn't even want to take his spider suit with him. He just wants to be a nice civilian kid doing fun things with his friends in Europe.
By the way,
that's what he was doing.
Somebody brought up to me on Twitter yesterday and they said, hey, John, it's clear that Tony is dead because when Happy comes in with the check from Stark Industries, it's signed not by Tony Stark, it's signed Pepper Potts. And I've seen a few people mention the line. However, you must remember that Pepper has been the CEO of Stark Industries ever since Iron Man 3.
Yes.
So that's what it would be anyway. So nothing to see here.
Yeah, no.
Nothing to see here. All right, what's next?
Patrick Conway, any updates on the Continental series recently?
I've heard no updates, but I haven't been, with everything coming with John Wick 3, I would expect to see no updates on the Continental until John Wick is in our rearview mirror.
I completely agree.
But I will tell you this. I'm excited about the Continental.
If they've got to get, yes, I'm excited.
All right, what's next?
All right, Preston Walden. On IMDb, Spider-Man is now listed in Endgame. Also, Crossbones and the Ancient One are listed too.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, look, I've always said this. For movies that have already come out and are in theaters, IMDb is rock solid reliable. On movies that are not yet out in theaters, not so much. There have been many examples of things listed in credits of movies prior to them coming out, and then they come out and those credits were completely bupkis, and then they adjust them and fix them and all that kind of stuff. So I do find that very interesting, Preston. I don't know that I expect to see Ancient One and Crossbones. It would be a kick to see Ancient One come back. I loved Ancient One.
Well, look, if we've got, again, like in the Next Generation finale, All Good Things that Kevin Feige keeps citing as one of the inspirations for Endgame, it was all about traveling back to the very first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. There is time travel involved in this movie. We're going to see people that are probably dead back in time.
Let's find out. All right, what's
Han
next?
should be in this movie.
Oh, this one's sweet. All right, from Jake Theron. My girlfriend loves you both. I love you, Rory. Keep it filthy. Kiss, kiss, gang bang.
Yes.
We're partners for life. I love you. I love you. Watch Campea with me every day. By the way, Mr. Burnett, I'm getting my bad MF wallet. Let's talk Pulp Fiction.
Nice.
What's that reference?
That's from Pulp Fiction. He had, which wallet's yours? It's
Bad
the one that says bad
yeah.
motherfucker on it.
All right. Do you have that wallet?
Anybody who has
Fact checker Jonathan saying he's actually got that wallet. Do you got it on you? Oh, he's going to bring, okay, remember that, guys. We got to see this wallet. Fact checker Jonathan, by the way, every once in a while, has some of the coolest stuff. Like he comes in, because look, if you know Jonathan in person, he doesn't come across as real boisterous. He's kind of lower tone, all this kind of stuff. But then you notice he rocks some of the best T-shirts.
Oh, his Golden Girls shirt yesterday.
Yes, was absolute gold. He's always, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised he's got that wallet. All right, thanks a lot for writing that, Jake. All right, what's next?
All right, Romy J. Royster. Thoughts on the trailer, Miss Bala?
Haven't seen it.
Okay, this is a remake of. It's either I think it's either a Spanish or maybe it's an Argentinian film, something. It's basically about a model that gets kidnapped by a drug gang.
Ooh.
And it looks pretty good. It was directed by Catherine Hardwicke.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's really got my attention. Okay, I got to go find this.
Based on a 2011 Spanish film, but I don't know if it's from Spain. I don't remember, or if it's I don't. But the first movie, which I saw sort of as the anti-action movie. This movie looks like it's got a little bit more action in it, but it looks great. I can't wait.
All right, what's next?
Cool. Romy again says, Paul Anderson is one of the worst directors in Hollywood. There's only 2 films I somewhat liked from him, Death Race and Alien vs. Predator.
Both of those movies to me are very bad movies that had moments. I'll tell you what, there is one moment in Alien vs. Predator that made me laugh my guts out. That totally, and intentionally, was supposed to be funny. Well, there were 2. One was one of the girls was about to bring a gun to something. Guy says, do you really think a gun is necessary? She goes, a gun is like a condom. You'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have it. So that was a pretty good line. The other line in the movies, though, they get into this ancient underground burial city and they find that chest with all the technology in it. And they're like, you don't understand. This is like finding Moses's DVD collection. Which I thought was when they said that in the movie, I howled. But overall, I still think those movies are pretty bad.
You got to give Paul Anderson some credit for one movie. There's one movie that he made that I actually quite enjoy, Event Horizon.
Oh, I thought it was terrible.
Oh, see, I'm a big fan.
It is one of those
Big
films
fan.
that's very divisive. There are people who really, really hate it, and people who really,
I
really
really
appreciate it and
that
like it
movie.
a lot.
I know.
What are you, Ray? I'm with Robert. You like that one, Ray? Oh, all right. What's next?
All right, Rodney Alexander. Far From Home takes place before Infinity War. Peter and the class are coming from the airport when Pete asks Ned for the distraction. When they're on the bus in Infinity War, Iron Man asks Pete where he came from, and he says field trip.
Well,
Thoughts?
Rodney, obviously you wrote that in before we've already explained that.
Yeah.
And you kind of debunked that. Nope, doesn't happen. I already explained a long time ago, you don't come back from a trip from Europe on a school bus. But then a bunch of other people are now reminding us that he says he was at the Museum of Modern Art.
Right.
That's where that field trip was. So, nope. No, I mean, there's that. But look, I could totally see why you would draw those connections at first. But once you start actually think about it, you're realizing, oh, yeah, nothing there adds up to that. So, yeah, that's kind of been debunked already. All right, what's next?
All right, by Odin's Beard. My had me start the Whole30 diet to start the new year, and these shows are the only thing that keep me sane. Thank you, John and Rob.
Yeah, it's that time of year that everybody's on the diets. I'll tell you what.
He's 15 days in.
He's 15 days in.
15 days in. Keep going.
I went, look, everybody over Christmas puts on some weight. Everybody does. I have an extra curse in that I go back to Canada to my mother and my Italian family. And there's a lot. And Ray, who came back to Canada with me and Ann this year, can testify to the fact that not only are there always big meals, but then we're always going out to eat because we all want to go to these Canadian places I can't go to when I'm down here.
Right.
And things with a lot of Swiss chalet, ladies and gentlemen. And on top of all that, my parents have a bar set up down in the main family room with this big stone fire. It's gorgeous. But that bar is constantly, he's laughing because, it's constantly stocked with every kind of potato chip, cheesies, jubes, what chocolate. The freezer is packed with ice cream sandwiches and all this stuff. So I put on, I kid you not, in almost 2 weeks, I put on like 9 pounds. I put on nearly a 10 spot in 2 weeks. So I decided when I got back, I went on the whole no carb thing, and I've been fortunate.
You've been pretty good about that.
Yeah, I'm almost gone through all of it.
Nice.
I've almost gotten rid of all 9 pounds of that. But yep, good on you. Hang in there, dude. Hang in there. All right, what's next?
Julius Goodwin, with the success of Venom and Aquaman, is there a strong market for non-Marvel movies franchises going forward, or is the success due to the studios learning from their mistakes as opposed to the desire for something different?
Good question.
No, I think, look, most people, not everybody, most people look at comic book movies as comic book movies.
Right.
Most people don't look at them as DC movies or Marvel movies or whatever other kind of third branch could pop out there, or Fox movies or whatever. And they know, oh, this one looked good, this one did not look good. I don't think it's about people wanting, I don't think Venom succeeded because people wanted something different. I think Venom succeeded because it looked good and it looked fun. And then people's friends started telling them Venom's really good.
Right.
And they started going, and I think the same from Aquaman. You had a great director on board. You start flashing from the director of this and this. People get excited. The trailers look good. You got Jason Momoa in there, who's totally charming. I think that really has more. I mean, it's a great question, but I think that has more to do with it. What do you think, Rob?
No, I completely agree. But look, they have found a sweet spot, especially Marvel, for superhero films. Superhero films are just a genre. We used to get 50 years ago, or 60 years ago, endless Westerns.
Yes.
It was Western.
Yes.
I mean, Westerns were the genre of the day. There were hundreds of Westerns made. There have been cop movies. There have been lawyer movies. Superhero movies with remember, the MCU's only been around for now.
10 years.
It's not going, 2019 goes into its 11th year. And before that, 20 years ago, we got one superhero movie maybe every couple of years.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of other there were buddy cop movies. How many buddy cop movies did we used to get?
And we still get.
I mean, from Beverly Hills Cop or Another 48 Hours, Lethal Weapon, Tango and Cash, all that stuff. And now, when was the last time we got a good buddy cop movie? A buddy cop action movie. Now superheroes are the buddy cop movies. It's just they have, instead of being cops, they're superhero.
We got Winter Soldier and Falcon coming.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. And so it's just a new genre. And people, whenever anybody denigrates the genre, I'm like, look, Winter Soldier is a legitimate, straight-up political movie.
It's a political thriller.
It's a political thriller. And just because it has comic book characters in it I don't know. I'm excited.
All right, what's next?
By Odin's Beer just wanted to correct himself. He said, my wife had
Oh
me
yeah,
start
oh yeah.
the
So
30
no,
diet
not
to
my
start.
had me start. My wife had
Yes.
me start. That's usually what starts these things.
Yes.
That is usually what starts these things. All right, what's next?
Preston Walden. So a crew member on a feature film I wrote and will be directing has never seen Star Wars. Should she be blacklisted? May the filth be with you.
Yeah, fire her right now. She clearly doesn't know anything about film or have any taste. I suggest. I think she probably abuses puppies. I'm just taking a guess on that right off the top of my head.
Don't fire her. Star Wars is a movie that came out in 1977. How many movies have you seen that came out in 1977?
She also probably thinks Han shouldn't have died, which is really dumb. But hey,
Well, she's on my team then.
no, I mean, no. But what I would do is say, I envy you. You have never had the first experience of watching this movie, and sit down, get her and a couple of other crew members, and sit down and watch it together, and just spread the joy. All right, what's next?
We Have No Lives says, if you had to choose a book to be made into a film, what would it be? For me, it would be The Alchemist or a remake of Lawrence of Arabia.
It's something that was made into a miniseries back in the 80s, and there's been whispers of it being turned into a movie. That I would definitely turn into a movie is Shogun, James Clavell's Shogun. That story is remarkable. I've always wanted to see that on the big screen, so that's my vote.
That miniseries, by the way, is one of my favorite things that's ever been on TV. I have it on Blu-ray. But if I could make one movie, I would get Aaron Sorkin to write and David Fincher to direct an adaptation of Donna Tartt's book, The Secret History.
I don't know
Scott
much
Rudin,
about.
get on it.
You'll have to tell me about that sometime. All right, what's next?
Yeah, cool. Roman Bryant says, you think Kingpin was the villain of 2018, Daredevil Season 3, Spider-Verse, and has a part in Spider-Man PS4?
Yeah, well, first of all, then very, very different Kingpins. Like a very different Kingpin in Daredevil, which, by the way, Vincent D'Onofrio, not in the same league, but in the conversation with Bourne to play that role, like Robert Downey Jr. to play Iron Man, Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine. Like D'Onofrio as Kingpin. The Kingpin in Spider-Verse was significantly a different Kingpin, but I love it. I just love it when he first shows up and he starts humming the Spider-Man thing. Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
No one told me that the Kingpin in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was based on the Bill Sienkiewicz Kingpin that he drew. Nobody told me that. And as soon as I think you first see him from the back,
Yes,
walking, and I'm like, oh
It's
my
just
God,
the shadow.
That's the Bill Sienkiewicz Kingpin. I come on, that was the greatest thing ever.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. All right, what's next?
Patrick Conway, did you read the leaked plot details of Marvel Disney shows? I know it's 99% chance it's fake, but they still sound awesome.
No, I never. Any of these leaked things, 99% of the time, are complete BS. And so, two options. It's either complete BS and there's no point in reading them, or the 1% chance it's legit. Well, then why would I want to read it? So, either way, no, but you're right. It's probably nothing. All right, what's next?
Steven Gonzalez, finally used my 3D TV's capabilities. First one I saw, Tron Legacy, blew my mind visually. Soundtrack is fire.
Yeah, I'm glad 3D TVs are dead. I'm glad they don't sell them anymore, basically. 3D's stupid.
What are you talking about?
And look, every television manufacturer caught on. Nobody wants this, and they stopped making the TVs.
Home 3D is awesome.
Then
It
why
is
they stop? Why did
awesome.
nobody buy them? And why they stopped
Because
making
Americans are uneducated when it comes to their home entertainment choices. We are uneducated. We need to be educated. That's why I go to Europe, which is a much more enlightened place where human beings have been around a lot longer, and you can still get 3D Blu-ray discs that are awesome. And by the way, the Tron Legacy Daft Punk soundtrack is fire. It's so
them? Oh,
good.
it's a great soundtrack. It's a
So
great
good.
soundtrack, but nobody needs 3D.
Dude, I'm going to bring 3D. I'm going to bring my 3D Last Emperor Blu-ray to your house and show it to you.
I will not care. All right, what's next?
Ghostface 1999. My wife started watching Lucifer. Why are you watching? I asked because John Campea says it's awesome. She listens to you in the background.
And there are I kid you not, Robert. Like for years, I'm always amazed how many wives / girlfriends I've gotten emails from that says, you know, my husband, my boyfriend, whatever, has just watched you all the time, and I had to listen to it, and then I started realizing it's really good, and I started watching. I've even had, I remember this one great time, and I'm forgetting her name, so forgive me if you're watching this. This one time, I got an email from this woman who said, listen, my husband's a huge fan. We're trying to have a kid right now. I'm not pregnant yet, but I want to know if when I find out I'm pregnant, can I email you and have you reveal to my husband that I'm
man.
pregnant on your show? And I'm like, damn right, we can do that. And so months and months and months pass, and about 5 months later, I get an email from the lady. She goes, I'm pregnant. He doesn't know yet. Can you do this on tomorrow's show? And on the next day's show, I was like, oh, and by the way, to Kevin, I can't remember the name. Let's just say Kevin. Yeah. Kevin so-and-so, going to let you know, you've got something to be excited about. You're going to be a dad. And then the family wrote me back. And then they even sent me a picture of their kid, like later when the kid was born. It was one of the most special experiences I've ever had doing this kind. It was really awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's pretty good. Like I thought you were going to give this girl some relationship advice. I'm glad it didn't go that way.
No, because I'm the wrong guy to ask, my man. I'm the wrong guy to ask. All right, what's next?
I'll just do the continuation from Ghostface. Says, also, my 2-month-old daughter listens intensely when you're on the big screen. I just tell her it's Uncle Campea.
I love it. Uncle Campea. Can't go wrong, ladies and gentlemen. John Campea, steering the youth of the nation. That's a frightening phrase. That is a frightening phrase.
Can I call you Uncle Campea?
You can call me Uncle Campea if you'd like.
I'll call you Uncle Campea. You know what?
Just
Uncle
not when
Campea?
I'm doing my late night pole dancing.
We need justice for Han, Uncle.
Oh, you got to learn, kid. All right, what's next?
All right. Skipping back up, Juan Mejia. Sorry, Mejia. All right. Do you remember the original '87 G.I. Joe, the movie? Too bad it was never released in theaters after the poor box office performance of Transformers, the movie, but instead aired on TV Sunday primetime.
I have I know there was a G.I. Joe animated movie.
Yeah, I didn't.
Is that the one you're talking about? Is about the animated film?
About.
Yeah, that was the one with the weather. The name of the big device that they were doing. It was called the Weather Dominator. I think that was it the Weather Dominator? I think it was the Weather Dominator was the big thing that was. It never got a theatrical release, but I do believe I remember it. And I think that's where they introduced Serpentor. You're right. I think that's the one. Did Duke die in that one?
Remember they shot him and then it was just Flint and Lady J.
Oh, you might be right because I remember they killed.
Moving on from it's like the Transformers thing where they killed off.
I can't let you talk for too long because you don't have a microphone and people can't hear you. but yeah, so I do think I remember. Thanks for the throwback on that, Juan. Thank you very much. All right, what's next?
All right, James Welsh. According to reports, 30,000 actresses auditioned for the role of Maria. How do studios audition that many actresses, and how do they whittle it down?
A lot of times, like for instance, the audition process for the young Anakin Skywalker, it's not one office doing it. They'll have offices and multiple agencies across the world, and they'll put out word to like 1,000 casting agencies saying, we need somebody, do auditions, send us your top 50. And then they'll winnow that down and winnow that down. And they went with, the news was the other day, they went with a total unknown actress.
Total unknown.
Which is great as long as she's got the chops and got the talent. It's Steven Spielberg making the selection, so she's got to be pretty good. So, yeah, that's how they do it. It's not just one place doing it. All right, what's next?
I'm upset. Have you seen Uncle Drew yet? It wasn't bad.
It was bad, as a matter of fact. All film is subjective, and if you liked it, I celebrate that, my brother. But, yeah, Nope, did not think it was good in the least. Not even a little bit.
Didn't see it.
All right, what's next?
All right, Eric Saul. When do you think we'll get a teaser for Joker? I'm oddly becoming obsessed with this movie and keep watching that camera teaser footage.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I would like to say we'll get this in summer. We'll get this about 3 months out from October when the movie comes out. That's when I'd like. However, they have been very liberal with putting out behind the scenes pictures and photos. I got a feeling they might move a little bit early. I wouldn't be surprised if March we start seeing a teaser. I wouldn't be surprised because they're wrapped filming. The film's done shooting.
Either before Captain Marvel or before Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
They'll put that trailer will be out.
All right, what's next?
And by the way, episode 9, Endgame.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, what's next?
Spring Fox, how successful do you think Dark Phoenix will be?
I don't think ludicrously successful. I don't think big successful. I'm thinking they got to hope for 500 million. And if you hit 500 million, I think that's good. That's good for a movie like that, especially coming off of Age of Apocalypse. Or sorry, it wasn't Age of Apocalypse, just Apocalypse, which was not good. X-Men Apocalypse was
but
not
it did
good.
550
Yep, it did
million.
okay. Did okay, and I think Dark Phoenix can also do okay.
I want Dark Phoenix, I really want it to be great. It's going to be the last film. It should be the epic X-Men send-off that we get before Marvel takes it over.
I'm just a little nervous because you've got a guy who's never directed before.
I know.
Directing it, and that always makes me a little bit nervous. All right, what's next?
Brian Esparza, my girlfriend didn't like John Wick. What do I do? LOL.
There's this app called Tinder.
Oh no.
No, hey, look, not all things are for everybody. I mean, we can't expect people to love everything we love. That's just not realistic. It sucks that she doesn't like John Wick, but hey, not everybody loves everything. So it's okay. Don't worry about it, my brother. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I agree. Just, do you love your girlfriend? That's all that matters. Does she love you? Who cares what movie she likes?
All right. But if it was Star Wars, well, all right, what's next?
Christopher Benson, remember when Tony Stark needed several robots to put his armor on and take it off? Now he just pulls 2 drawstrings, double taps in his chest, and voila.
I tell you, it's magic now. Like, now it's magic. Before, they used to make it feel practical, right? Even though it was way advanced science fiction, it used to feel practical. Now it's just magic. It's magic. Woo, look at my magic stuff can do.
I mean, in Infinity War, basically he's wearing a Gundam suit.
Yes.
You know, he can have the funnels come out and attack. It's
Anyway.
kind of, yeah.
What's next?
Angry Irish Benjamin. Something that always affects whether I like a film is whether it feels good to watch it.
Sure.
For this reason, I watched Venom 3 times in cinemas and Aquaman 4, but I only watched 10 Years a Slave once, which was more than enough.
Look, we were just talking before the show started today about Schindler's List. I mean, I've gone to Schindler's List is a brilliant masterpiece of a movie that I can't ever watch again. Detroit, which just came out, talking about Catherine Bigelow, brilliant movie. I can't watch it again. There's just like some real human experience stuff they put in there that is just too heavy on my soul. But yeah, look, one of the things, when we look for many different things in movies. Look, I always say this, Robert. Movies are meant to be experiential events. Whether you experience wonder or excitement or laughter or sorrow or love or pain or horror and scares or in-depth thinking or whatever, movies need to deliver an experience. And having a good time watching it is definitely one of those experiences. So yeah, I'm with you. I've got movies like that where I watch Megaforce, for example. I just feel good watching Megaforce, even though I know it's trash.
Well, also, you know, I think the best movies are filled with people, the ones we watch over and over again, are people we want to hang out with.
Yes.
Like, I like the Corleone family. I like the McLean family. And Lucy McLean speaking. You know, I want to go meet those people again and hang out.
Even Fredo? You like Fredo?
Well, you know, Fredo's smart.
Yeah.
No,
I'm smart, Mikey.
Even Fredo.
All right, what's next?
Brian Esparza. John, how did you find your way into this industry?
I fell ass backwards into it. I mean, it's just simple. I was doing a blog as a hobby. Suddenly, I had like 100,000 viewers, or readers a month. And then I got my first $400 check from Google for doing it. And then it grew. And then Time Magazine did an article on me. And then AMC called me, said we wanted to come run this thing. I really kind of fell ass backwards into it. Worked my ass off. Like I was going to school and working and putting about 5 hours a day of work into my blog. The movie log. I worked my ass off. I work my ass off to this day.
Yeah.
But when you work your ass off, there's still elements of luck and whatever and all that kind of stuff. But when you work your ass off, you put yourself in a position to succeed. Doesn't guarantee you'll succeed. But when you work your ass off, good things can happen. Mark Messier, the great NHL hockey player, Hall of Famer, used to say, hey, when you put the puck on the net, basically saying when you shoot the puck at the goalie, good things can happen. When you work your ass off, good things can happen. And that's how I got into it at any rate. All right, what's next?
Just a follow-up from Brian. Like, was a degree useful to get where you are today?
I'll tell you what, I have no degree in journalism. I have no degree in my schooling and all that kind of stuff was law and whatever. But I will tell you what, having a law background has served me well. Yeah. Whenever I've had to do contract negotiations and understanding how the law works, understanding how fair use doctrine works and all that kind of stuff. But as I've worked with AMC and other entities as well, one of the things I've looked for when hiring, particularly not behind the scenes people and not presenters, but when hiring commentators, whatever, I look for journalism. I look for a background in this stuff. Work your ass off. I always say this, create your own opportunities. If no one's giving you a chance to get started on an online movie magazine or an online movie site, fine, make your own online thing and work at it for a couple of years and show dedication to it and blah, blah, blah. Create your own opportunities. No studio's hiring you to make a film. whatever. Grab your phone, turn on the camera, get 3 friends, hit record. 2 hours later, hit stop, and you've made a movie. Create your own opportunities. Don't sit. Too many people, Robert, I come across in this world, just sit on their asses, and they want to constantly add. And I know this is not what Brian is asking. I know this is what Brian is saying. But too many people I've come across in this business come to me, how do I do it? And what they're really asking is, what's the magic button, low effort, that I don't have to actually work my ass off and put in any risk, and just hit the button, and yay, I have success. It doesn't exist. Work your ass off. Put yourself in a position to succeed.
Well, you heard it from the uncle right here, but I will say this about getting a degree. You know what a degree shows? It shows that you can finish what you start.
Yes.
And if you start getting a degree and you've set something out, a path for yourself, once you have that degree, it shows that you're able to complete a long-term task. And that alone is worth something in the world.
Yeah, like look, if I'm looking at resumes and they're all essentially the same, but one guy's got a journalism degree, I'm going with that guy.
Right.
That's just me. All right, what's next?
Agreed. Wise words. Okay, Christopher Benson. Arachnophobia still creeps me out. Why no sequel?
Because nobody else thought it creeped them out, and nobody really saw it. I assume we're talking about the David Arquette. I assume we're talking about the David Arquette arachnophobia. Are we not?
John Goodman.
Was John Goodman in that too? Wow, it's been a while.
It's been I think it was a one-off. It was a different time when that came out, but it wasn't a monster hit. I'm still scared of spiders.
All right, what's next?
Yeah. Angry Irish Benjamin. I watched some footage of Detective Pikachu to compare it to the trailer for the movie with the same name. The protagonist is as bland as brown bread in the game. I think making him a burned out half.
And then he must have a second. Then you go down a little bit. There's Angry Irish again, a little bit further down.
Oh, failed Pokemon
Trainer.
Trainer is a good move. It's let him and Deadpool era Detective Pikachu do an Eddie Valiant Roger Rabbit routine, and it's just better.
I'll be honest with you, Angry. I'm not following your train of consciousness there. I'm not really exactly sure what it is you're talking.
Well, I think he's saying in the movie, the trailer for the movie has reinvented the concept and made it much more like the Eddie Valiant, like the Bob Hoskins character. And I think that he's right. I think that making a burnout character that's down on his luck is a great way to approach. I mean, when I heard they're making a Detective Pikachu movie, I was like, what?
Oh, me too.
I don't want to see that.
What? Yeah.
And then when I saw the trailer,
why is Ryan Reynolds in this?
When I saw the trailer, I'm like, come on.
That was charming.
I gotta see this. So yeah,
that was hella charming.
Yeah.
All right, this is why it's always good to have you here, because sometimes these guys, they send in like really just great ideas, but they don't word it out right, and I'm like,
or it's
I
broken
don't understand
up.
What you're saying.
It's tough.
And have a fresh set of eyes. It's always
but
great.
I thought it was good. I like that comment.
All right, we got time for just a couple more here, guys. We're going overtime, but we'll just do a few more.
All right. Kishan Vajayan said, you should watch the College Humor's Movie Pass CEO skit. It's actually so funny. I think you'll love it. Longtime fan from Australia. Love your content.
They've actually done a couple. I don't know if you've seen them.
No, but some of that stuff's really good.
My God. Okay. So it's basically, hi, I'm so-and-so, the CEO of Movie Pass, and trying to pass it off. And it's just disaster, right? But then they did a second one where it's like, well, turns out we had some issues with our Movie Pass, so we've created some new tiers. With this tier, you can go see a movie, blah, blah, blah. With this tier, you can go to a movie and buy a ticket for that movie and go in and watch it. and then he's looking more and more depressed and battered. And it basically climaxes with, this is the Movie Pass Diamond package. You can just fuck me. As long as you want and as hard as you want. You can do whatever. Like, it's just basically pleading with, if you haven't seen it yet, look it up online. It's some really, really funny stuff. All right, what's next?
All right. KU says, to John, big Aussie fan here. Just finished watching How to Train Your Dragon 3. Such a brilliant movie. So emotional and great humor. Great start for 2019.
Crap, has it opened in Australia already?
I guess.
Because I know they're doing some early, Fandango's doing some early screenings here. But, dude, I'm so excited for How to Train Your Dragon 3. How to Train Your Dragon 1 was not a Pixar film, so I wasn't excited about it. Saw it, and I'm like, wow. And then the second one might have even been better. I cannot wait for this third one.
How to Train Your Dragon 1, the Blu-ray looks fantastic in 3D.
All right, what's next?
All right. Guitar Dude, 513. Do you think it'd feel disingenuous if Luke were actually alive in episode 9? Like they were responding to criticism even if it was the plan all along?
No, because like I said, as somebody, when I came out of that movie, one of the things I thought was, no one actually said in the movie that he's dead. Ray says you could feel it, Luke's gone. Okay. Implying he's dead, yes, but directly saying he's dead, no. That movie introduces to some Force abilities from some old Star Wars lore that was never seen in a movie before. And I've always said I believe there is a 5% chance that he's actually still alive. 95% chance that he's dead, but 5% chance that he's alive. So if you've got fans like me, and if I'm thinking it, there are other people thinking it too, that right from when they saw the last movie that I think there's a chance he's still alive, I don't think it'll come across that way.
Look, I think Luke evolved. I think what we saw, kind of like at the end of Star Trek The Motion Picture when Vader evolves into a different entity, I think what happened at the end of The Last Jedi is that Luke has moved beyond. He actually became perhaps the most powerful Jedi ever. And that experience about what he did, when he was fighting Kylo Ren, that was the most badass Jedi thing. He wasn't even there. Jedi can only use their powers for defense.
Yeah.
That's the most ultimate baller Jedi move ever, which made him be able to evolve to the next level that no other Jedi's ever reached before.
Intriguing.
That's my theory.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's just take 2 more.
Sure. All right, Sala Pancho. Titans on Netflix. Also, why don't you just stream torrent?
Okay, so the show Titans, of course, is on the DC streaming service. It's on Netflix, but not in the United States. Because the DC streaming service is only in the United States, so you have to have DC to watch it here. But they want other people to see it in other international markets, so they license it to Netflix in other countries. So Titans is on Netflix wherever you are, but I don't think it's on Netflix in the U.S., unless I missed something, which I don't think I did. As far as why didn't I just store it and stream it, I know this is not the popular thing to say. I don't torrent things. I think it's stealing. It is stealing. Robert and I had a mutual friend that you all guys know very well, John Schnepp, who was very directly hurt, financially hurt and damaged because people stole his movie.
Right.
They stole The Death of Superman Lives What Happened. And it really had a massive impact on him. And, like everybody thinks, I did torrent, no big deal. No, you are stealing and you're hurting people when you do it. And so that's why I don't torrent.
Independent filmmaking, especially low-budget horror filmmaking, has been hugely impacted by the people stealing and torrenting movies.
Yeah.
And John lost tens of thousands of dollars of revenue that he could have used to make another movie.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, and it personally too, it really hurt him because there were few people in this world, as much as John Schnepp, who loved the fan community.
Right.
He loved the fan community, and it was very personally hurtful to him. I remember when we would talk about it, you could see it in his face that these people who are part of this fan community stole this from me, and they're taking away my chances of doing another one, and it was really hurtful to him. And
he took it very personally, and he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. All right, last question of the day.
All right. Guitar Dude 513. Rumors are flying that New Gods, directed by Ava DuVernay, may be heading toward pre-production soon. Gotta admit, I'm nervous after A Wrinkle in Time.
Well, I'm not. Look, she did such a good job on what was the Martin Luther King, the name of the movie again? Selma. Thing. She did with David Oyelowo. She did such a great job on that film. Wrinkle in Time. Look, that was a lot of people said this is an unfilmable book. This is almost impossible to do. And they proved it. Not a good movie. Not a good movie. I still don't believe that this New Gods film is happening. I don't believe that it'll be really interesting to see if it does. It'd be cool if it does. I'm just saying I don't think right now it will, but maybe it will. I don't know. What do you think the chances are of it actually happening?
I think New Gods is a really difficult nut to crack.
Yes.
And I love the New Gods. I'm really excited for seeing a New Gods film. All of those characters brought to life. But you need a very sure hand, especially in creating world-building fantasy cinema. I don't know. Like you said, I love Selma. I like Anna DuVernay. I mean, if you haven't seen her documentary, I think it's called 13th, about the 13th Amendment and the American prison system.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It's unbelievable. And she's a terrific filmmaker. But I don't know if New Gods is in her wheelhouse.
Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't. All right, guys, you know what? Let's do rapid fire for let's try to get through 5 or 6 ones.
All right.
Really quick. What's next?
All right. Brian Esparza, best newish actor. Adam Driver is one of my new faves.
I don't know that you can call him even a new actor. He's been around too long to call him a new actor.
Watch Patterson too. I loved him in Patterson. He's great.
But he's so good in BlacKkKlansman. Oh my God. All right, what's next?
All right, Samuel Lascio. Perhaps Fury's testing Peter for new Avengers.
Well, remember, Tony already kind of appointed him as being an Avenger, so I don't know if that's it. There's still a lot we don't know about this movie till after we see Endgame, so let's keep context in mind. All right,
99
next.
days.
99 days.
John Walton. Best overall Rogues Gallery, Spider-Man or Batman?
Both great, both wonderful. I got to go with the classic. I believe the Batman
Me
Rogues
too.
Gallery.
I'm with
Absolutely.
Batman.
What's next?
I'm upset. Prom not happening, but I would love to see Post and Sway perform the song Sunflower from Spider-Verse at Oscars this year.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool. I would rather look. I still can't remember the name of the song. No, it's called Want It Now, or I think it's called Want It Now. It's the Penny Parker theme that they
Right.
play when she's doing. It's awesome, and it's not on the soundtrack. I want to see that, but yes, that would be a pretty cool one. But I don't think he played at the Oscars because it's not. I don't think it got nominated for best song. Did it?
Well, we haven't heard the nomination.
Right, but I
yet.
don't think it was on the short list either.
Oh,
I
but
could be
yeah.
wrong about that though. I could be wrong about that. What's next?
All right, Micah T.
Micah T.
Did you notice that the Avengers Tower is under construction in the Far From Home trailer? I wonder who's moving in. Oscorp, new Baxter building?
Good question. Remember in Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony and Stark Industries were moving out of that tower. There's some retrofitting going
Yep.
on there. Somebody else is moving in. It might be Fantastic Tower. It might be the Fantastic Four.
That
The
would be the
Baxter, the
coolest
new
thing ever.
Baxter building, maybe. That could be an opening now that Fantastic Four's come back. All right, what's next?
Guitar Dude 513. Would you take a Ben Affleck Batman trilogy if it meant wiping the rest of his filmography from existence? It'd be tough to lose Gone Girl and Argo.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I want a Ben Affleck written and directed Batman series badly. However, if that means I got to lose Good Will Hunting, if that means I got to lose Argo, if that means I got to lose Gone Girl, if that means I got to lose The Town, which I love The Town.
I love The Town.
I got to say no.
I don't want to lose Some of All Fears. I liked his young Jack Ryan. I love Some of All Fears.
Morgan Freeman was in that with him too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, if you're talking about just his directorial movies, so then we're looking at Argo, The Town, is it We Own the Night? We Are the Night? Knight Rider 2000? Something like that.
Which I like too.
Yeah, I still
Knight
wouldn't
Rider
say, because you don't know what you're getting. It's a tough question, but I'm going to say no. Okay, last one.
All right, Rick here. Han did have it coming.
Oh, yes, Rick. And what a beautiful place for
What
us
is
to
with
end.
you murderous, bloodthirsty audience
What
members?
A
What
wonderful,
what?
enlightened way for us to end this episode of the John Campea Show. Special thanks to all you guys who've been here. And by the way, guys, for those of you who still had outstanding questions coming, where we have Michael Jones, Rick had another one, Sebastian, Folsom. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to take all these. I'm going to be putting these in the upcoming companion videos. So these questions are going to get answered. Don't forget, guys, me and Robert and Ashley will be back again tomorrow for tomorrow's episode of the John Campea Show. And I want to thank the people sitting in this room right now. Of course, special thanks to Fact Doctor Jonathan and Ray, but also the one, the only, the great, the Han-loving, the 3D embracing, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you online?
Well, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. Find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my YouTube channel, The Burnett Work, or my website, theburnettwork.net, one word.
And of course, I want to thank Ashley Whalen, who has helped us out today. Ashley, it has been so great having somebody else read all this stuff. Thank you so much. Where can people
My
find
pleasure.
you? Your main social media is on Instagram. Where can people
Yes,
find
my
you?
main one is Instagram. It is the handle Ashley Whalen. That is my name. It just has two Y's, ASHLEYYWHELAN, and it is Whalen like whale.
Why? Because I gotta name the movie.
I don't know.
The Mask.
Oh, I was thinking
Why?
The Wailing, like
Because
a
I
Korean horror film, but that's just me.
Gotta. All right, guys, and a special thanks to all of you guys who are joining us here today. Love having this movie community where we can get around and talk about our favorite stuff in the world. It is awesome, and the awesomeness continues tomorrow. Make sure you join us again tomorrow. That'll do it for now. My name's John Campea, and until our next video, guys, bye-bye.